The Nigerian Northern Elders Forum is telling the government to let Igbos break away from the country if they want to. Well, the forum says Nigeria cannot afford another war in a bid to keep the Igbos as part of the nation. Well, the spokesman of the Northern group says citizens are paying the price for the failure of the government to halt the slide of the country into anarchy. Well, the group is accusing political leaders in the southeast of yielding to the violence of the secessionist group, the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, and their militant wing, the Eastern Security Network, ESN.
The forum has arrived at the difficult conclusion that if support for secession among the Igbo is as widespread as it is being made to look, and Igbo leadership appears to be in support of it, then the country should be advised not to stand in its way. It will not be in the interest, it will not be the best choice for the Igbo or Nigerians to leave a country we have all toiled to build and a country we all have responsibility to fix. But it will not help a country already burdened with failures on its knees to fight another war to keep the Igbo in Nigeria. This forum insists that attacks and killings of northerners and federal government employees and destruction of national assets must stop. Those who have been involved in it must be arrested and prosecuted. Until the Igbo decide whether it wants to secede or remain part of Nigeria, the law applies to it, and the federal and state governments who have responsibility to enforce the law and protect citizens must enforce it. We support calls for northerners who are exposed to harassment and violence to consider relocating to the north.
Well, let's bring in Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, the Director of Publicity and Advocacy with the Northern Elders Forum, whom you heard there. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Based on your press release there and that statement that you made, it seems you are concluding that it is just one section of the country that is, quote unquote, calling for secession. There is the Oduduwa that's also calling for that, but you didn't address that particular issue in that conference. But beyond telling the Nigerian government that if the Southeast insists on going, the federal government should let the Southeast go. But don't forget that it is IPOB, a proscribed group that is, seemingly calling for secession. Are you saying it represents the views and the objectives of the Southeasterners, the politicians, the leaders, and the people of the Southeast? Is that what you're saying?
Our statement is very clear. We say, first of all, we didn't ask the government to let the Igbo go if there appears to be a universal consensus that every Igbo man and woman and child is represented by IPOB and ESN. We said Nigerians should let the Igbo go. We fought a war before. It was a very terrible war. Everybody paid a huge price for this. We don't want to fight another war again. It's not worth it. We have enough problems in the country. We should not go to war.
Yeah, that's a point. That's a point.
Let me make the point.
No, I want to say this. In addition to what you have advised the federal government to do, are you, addressing the issues that the Southeasterners are, have as a concern? They're talking about injustice, lack of inclusivity or inclusiveness, and all of that. Are you advising government to look at those, issues?
Right now, the only thing you hear about the East is killings by ESN and the threats by IPOB. The East has been speaking on issues of injustice and marginalization and lack of inclusion like everybody else. Everybody has issues in this country. Everybody. What you hear now is not those issues. It's killings and secessionist talks and threats and killings and killings and killings. And this is not tolerable.
All right, let me come in here. When you seem to be blaming the political leaders in the Southeast for the violence. You say they have submitted to violence. These are your words. We had Ezife, former governor of Anambra State here, who is an Igbo leader, the other day saying the Igbo leaders have investigated and found out it's not IPOB without evidence, though that must be added. He said that. But some people who are against Igbo being president, what do you say to that? I mean, when you kind of outrightly blame them that the leaders have submitted to violence, the leaders don't seem to be, saying anything. I don't know.
Well, it's obvious. How many Igbo people, there are Igbo governors, there are Igbo ministers, there are Igbo members of the National Assembly, there are millions and millions of Igbo living peacefully in Nigeria, making a good living in this country, with a huge stake in this country. Igbo built this country along with everybody else. If it falls if this country falls, it will fall on the head of every Igbo. How many Igbo have you heard condemn openly and unambiguously what is going on in the Southeast? How many? Now, the question is simple. We're not blaming we're saying the leaders of Igbo are complicit by keeping quiet. If they don't support what IPOB is doing, if they don't support what ESN is doing, the responsible thing to do is to stand up against them. What you see in the East is this silence. And how do you interpret this silence? It is tacit support. It's either fear, in which case they can reach out. If they have already lost that war to the ESN,
when you say you support calls for Northerners to consider relocating to the North, are you not encouraging more the fault lines and being more alarmist there?
No, certainly not at all. Any Northerner that feels insecure, any Northerner that feels unsafe, should relocate to a place where he feels more safe. And we also said in the system, and let me remind you, that Northerners must never contemplate attacking any Igbo or any Southerner in the North.
Are you not speaking from two sides of your mouth? Go ahead.
No, I'm not.
When such rhetorics come from leaders, whether it's in the Southeast, Northeast, or wherever, whichever part of the country, what it tells the ordinary man on the streets is, I'm not safe. So whatever I need to do to protect myself and maybe attack the other person.
You think any Nigerian is safe?
Go ahead.
You think any Nigerian anywhere feels safe in this country?
So why are we not looking at this from the Nigerian perspective, but not necessarily Southeast, North, Southwest, and all of that?
That's a fair question.
Yes.
We are looking at it from the national point.
It didn't sound like that from your communique.
Well, I know we are limited in terms of time, but I would ask you to read our communique. I read it. Our communique was responsible. It was controlled. It is the right thing to say under the circumstances. This country has many, many problems. What is happening in the Southeast happens to be only one of them. It just appears to be the most acute and the one that threatens the territorial integrity of this country, security of this country. That's why we address it. Now you ask me why I didn't bring all the Oduduwa thing. At this stage, what is happening in the Southeast is more acute, is more visible, and is more threatening.
You had a gonga over the weekend.
Yes, we did. We also had Kanu 2 days ago saying, "Bring me the head of Wike, and I'll pay you 100 million naira."
Is there a way forward? Is there a way back from the precipice?
Yes,
for
there
Nigeria?
is. Absolutely.
What is it, if you can tell us in 30 seconds?
Okay, maybe I should add that. Can we begin to speak, leaders like you, begin to speak in tempered tones that will seem to unite more than divide?
We are talking in tempered terms. Let me just say this. Leaders need to talk to each other. We don't want a single inch of this country to go. The Igbo is important in this country. We want them to stay. However,
thank you very much.
No group should be in a position where it threatens the rest of this country over matters that should be discussed, negotiated, and agreed.
All right, thank you so much, Hakeem Baba Ahmed, Director of Publicity Advocacy of the Northern Elders Forum. Thank you for joining us.